Guess who's back? Back again. It's the Ghetto Blaster. Now, I'm not sure by the time this video comes out whether the gameplay will have dropped yet or not. So I ran this at high command, had an absolute blast with it. There is a thing with these where I've noticed it in the double eagles more than the salvos. Every now and again, you can get like a slightly tighter nozzle. So if you're running the M-Pass, you've got like the wider part of the M-Pass. Do I have one here to show you? Basically on the M-Pass, you've got like a wider section of the valve here. So this like diameter of the valve. If you do get where your M-Pass is sticking ever so slightly, you just need to take or just smooth off this all the way around here with just a little bit of like fine sandpaper or a file, just to clean up the edge, because they do, the way they're manufactured, they are slightly, ever so slightly rough textured. While I investigate as to what's causing these in the different batches, I'm going to have to look at more guns to determine what the issue is. But that being aside, there is another issue with the Ghetto Blasters, which is not because of any of the heavy recoil parts, as what some people have said. They said they fitted the heavy recoil parts and they're having this issue. I've had more people with standard Ghetto Blasters tell me that they've got this issue rather than having it modified. And it's basically where the gun can lock even though the mag's full. And it's due to this spring. It's basically, the heavy recoil might, magnify this issue because you've got, a lot of moving mass. The gun's shaking around more. Potentially there's more of a case for it to be able to do this. But behind the mag release, the bolt release here, you've got a little spring. And what you can find is that spring isn't quite strong enough to hold the bolt catch back while the mag's full. And you can get like a bit of bounce, and it's just enough for the Z plate to catch the bolt. So what we're going to be doing today is, and I've talked various people through this on the Discord, and it has fixed it in most cases. So I'm going to pull the trigger screw out the back with a 2.5mm Allen key, because we're going to have to pull the trigger box out. Now I know it's a little bit more annoying on the Ghetto Blaster than a normal M4, but what are you going to do? We're going to have to pull out the ambi bolt release. That's not going to be the right screwdriver. So we can unscrew this pin. Once you've got it so far, you'll be able to pull it out. This is under spring tension as well. Pull that out there. And we need to remove the selectors, which again, a little pin. You want to do it on the right hand side selector. You can spin this little pin out like that, pull off the selector from this side, if I can get it off. Sometimes it can be a little tight, like that. Pull that off that side, and that will enable us to, if we cut this back, push it from that side as we rotate it, and it will enable you to pull the selector out. The most annoying part is doing the mag release, as you'll have seen me do before. We push it from the one side and then we rotate it. Eventually when you get it to a point, it does get easier. And we just spin this out. Take that out there. Once that's out, what do I need to do next? Do I need to pull that pin out? I don't think I do. I'm pretty sure it's just the main body pin we need to pull out. So that's this one here. Which way do I tap that out? I think it's this way. So hammer and a pin punch. Get that started. a slightly thinner one. And just tap this out here. Pull this pin out, like so. And we should now be able to pull the trigger box out. What you might have to do is just push that pin in if it gets stuck like that. We can pull this all out. Take the Z plate off. Flip this over. And if you rotate the bolt release up like that, you can actually pull this spring out. Now this spring here is far smaller than like a standard MWS spring. Now, if you've got an upgraded one, you can swap it out. That's probably more ideal. However, if you just stretch this slightly, you just want to give it like an extra 30% on its length. Most of the time, this completely solves it. Put it back on there, and it just gives it that extra more tension to hold the bolt lock out the way until it's needed. And that's all you need to do to fix the Premature bolt lock. Now, while we're on the subject and we've got this thing apart, we're going to replace the Z plate. You guys know I've been doing Z plates for a while now. They're very inexpensive compared to a lot of the other aftermarket ones out there. That was the main goal of it. Now this one here, you'll see is very shiny. This is the new Jaeger Precision titanium plate. So much like the steel plate, all the geometry is the same great working part, very inexpensive, but now you can get them in titanium, and I've literally made it so that all the titanium ones, the steel ones had a brushed finish. All of these ones, however, are polished. Now, there's only so far you can go before you really ramp the price up in terms of labour, but these are polished titanium. They weigh half of what the stainless steel ones do. So the stainless steel ones, I think, are 14 grams. These are about 7. And this is just going to be a drop-in part. I don't think I've fitted one to the Ghetto blaster before, but you can see it's like that there. So these are in stock on the website right now, available in silver. I will be doing heat-treated versions because for some reason people love that, which will be slightly more expensive. However, it will be available soon on the website. So while we fix this Premature bolt lock, we're going to give it a more reliable bolt lock when we want it by fitting this Z plate. Now, trigger box in, we can push our main body pin in and tap that flush. Like so. We can also screw in our main trigger box screw. Apologies. Just a reminder there. Screw this in. The Ghetto blasters, for some reason, don't always like to perfectly line up the screw. You just got to make sure you don't cross thread it. So that goes back in. You don't want to over tighten it there. First we'll get rid of the dreaded, which is the mag release. It's easier on other replicas because you can kind of put this on and spin it in place, like to get it most of the way there. Now with the Ghetto blaster, with the geometry of the receiver, you can't do that. So you have to line it up your best you can and push it in a way that keeps it flat, so this can be screwed in properly. The majority of the time it'll feel like it's screwing in, but it's not. And we're just going to pull and twist, keep going round. And what we're looking for is to have the screw flush or just under flush. That's more than enough. So with that on, I'm going to replace the ambi bolt release. Just push that back in place. We're going to pop the pin in, get that started. Once that's started, I'm going to screw it in the rest of the way. You'll need a very small flathead for that. Don't go too far with it. That's fair enough. And then to put the selectors in, I've done videos on these before. It's very simple. You basically push it in. You want to just get that trigger bar out the way like that. And as you push it in, you just want to rotate it. Now eventually you're going to get to a point where on the Ghetto Blaster, it's on where the normal semi is, and you'll see this final pin. Now with the Ghetto Blaster, you can just rotate these, and most of the time it's enough to push it in. Now if it's not, you can just push that pin in like that. It's good to go. And that's done with the hammer cocked. Doesn't really matter if the auto C is dropped. Most of the time it works exactly the same. So we can take our safety, push it on, fit that in, screw it in with a flathead, which keeps slipping out. Just go till it's nice and flush or just under. There we go. Test its function. Nice. That's all in. Our new Z plate's in. Not sure if I've done one in a Ghetto Blaster before, but we'll test it out, make sure it works. Let's get the front body pin back in. Z plate catches, and with that Z plate you're now able to see the Noveske logo, which I think is pretty cool. I did, when I was using this in game, keep forgetting. I kept forgetting it's got an ambi-bolt release. So let's grab a mag. It just so happens I've grabbed a P mag. So it locks back. With my Z plates, you will get a more resistive feel to the bolt catch, and it aids in reliability and gives you more of a tactile drop. That was something that I implemented by design originally, so it is harder, ever so slightly harder to push the bolt release, but it does make it more reliable. And it does make it feel a little bit more tactile as well, because sometimes, you know, these can drop on their own. But yeah, that's how to fix your Premature bolt lock, and that is how to fit a Z plate to give you a more reliable bolt lock when you need it. So thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe. A lot of my viewers tune in every day, but they're not actually subscribed to the channel, so I'd appreciate if you could do that. Like the video, let me know what you think about the Ghetto Blaster down below. Have you had these issues? There's a guide to help you with it. Join the link in the description, which will take you over to the Ag Precision Discord. I think I've said that like 1,000,000 times by now. And as always, from me and Bench, we'll be catching you in the next one.